I believe it was Fred Durst who once exclaimed, "Heavy is the head that wears the crown." And while that suggests that losing it will bring relief in no longer having to fight off usurpers, being bumped from that top spot can also be completely world-shattering. Today we're going to be looking at 10 champions that deeply struggled to face the reality that the title was no longer theirs, be it through denial, excuses, or retreating into themselves and away from the ravenous fandom. I'm Tommy from MMA On Point. A huge thanks to our channel Hall of Fame members for supporting videos like this one, and these are 10 champions who just couldn't handle the loss. Number 10, AJ McKee. Now look, despite the subject matter, most of this video is pretty lighthearted because most of the time we only get to see small glimpses into these champions' reactions to their losses. A lot of what happens at home we'll never see, and it's not always as simple as quote-unquote taking a loss well or getting back on your horse. A perfect example is AJ McKee. After defeating Patricio Pitbull in spectacular fashion to become Bellator featherweight champion, he would lose the title in a rematch that would go to a decision, one that most thought was justified. But there were certainly supporters who felt that McKee should have been given the nod, AJ of course included. Watching the post-fight presser as McKee pops champagne and calmly declares his victory, you would think that he was entirely unfazed, beyond of course denying that he lost.
Back to the drawing board, man. One setback, it ain't nothing to me.
But in a candid interview that AJ did with Morning Combat 5 months after losing the title, he admitted that he was anything but unfazed by losing the title.
Honestly, I had a little mental breakdown after it. It was a bit draining for myself, just being a perfectionist, OCD perfectionist. It was a lot to take a loss.
What's interesting about the interview after he admitted his breakdown is that he still feels like he won, which I think plays into how difficult that first ever career loss must have been for him. I chose McKee to kick off the list because I think he's a great reminder that even when we have fun with these fights and poke fun at champions who lose and don't take it so well, these are still humans, and a lot of these losses might have hit harder than you imagined as a fan. Number 9, Sean O'Malley. All right, let's lighten the mood up a bit here. Welcome to the Denial Show. I'm joking. Look, you don't become a cage fighting champion unless you've got a bit of a delusional streak in you. This isn't your standard default life path, but there's no denying that O'Malley has outright refused to accept his loss to Merab at the Sphere. After skipping the post-fight presser, Sean left a simple Twitter message apologizing for his performance, as well as a funny Instagram video practicing his takedown defense.
Well, I think he took it pretty well.
First thing the next day though, O'Malley was having none of the judge's decision and live tweeted as he watched the fight, giving scores round by round and claiming he took the first, third, and fifth.
Bro, what is this? I mean, the narrative is crazy.
He would then jump on a 6-minute Twitter space to challenge people to explain to him how it is he lost.
Tell me I'm wrong. Round 1, 3, and 5, I won that fight. That's just it, as simple as that.
Perhaps the funniest of his posts was when he wrote undefeated and got community noted. Sean's continued his victory claim in the month since the loss, reposting anybody and everybody who agrees with him. Much like the Cheeto Vera fight, don't expect Sugar to accept any part of this defeat anytime soon. Number 8, Joanna Jedrzejczyk. When you're as great as Joanna champion, I have to imagine that it's almost impossible to consider that someone might be better than you. And so to lose her title to Rose Namajunas in the fashion that she did, getting KO'd in just under 3 minutes, it had to be nearly impossible to process that as anything but a rounding error in the cosmic ballet. Despite most fighters foregoing the post-fight presser after a KO loss in a title fight, Joanna showed up and was understandably short with her answers and upset. And while she would give Rose her roses somewhat on that night, she would go on to claim the victory was simply a fluke. She would continue this point even following her decision loss in the rematch, about she felt that she actually won and blamed the judges and her weight cut for. Jedrzejczyk would tell the BBC of her losing the title initially, she was a fluke in the first fight. And I will keep saying this, and I don't care if people are going to hate on me because I know who I am. Joanna would try to reclaim gold the rest of her career, but never quite got there ever again. Number 7, Tito Ortiz. Back in 2003, Tito Ortiz would drop his title to Randy Couture after getting absolutely dominated for all 5 rounds. Randy would have 21 minutes of control time and outstrike Ortiz 194-34. So this was not a decision that was in any way in question. Loretta Hunt caught up with Tito a week after the fight for an interview, and his demeanor in the cage immediately afterwards, that of utter disbelief, or like the last 5 rounds didn't actually happen, would continue in print. Early on, Ortiz was complimentary of Couture's ability to take him down, before throwing in that it was likely because of a herniated disc in his back though. Tito would continue later saying, quote, "Every time he took me down, it was so light and so, I don't know, didn't feel real, I guess, cause none of it hurt." His utter disbelief that an Olympic level wrestler could take him down would continue later in the interview when he said, "That wasn't Tito Ortiz that fought that night. I guarantee it. I couldn't believe Randy took me down that easy. Nobody takes me down that easy." Tito then gave himself moral victories, a classic tactic when trying to cope with a loss, by saying, "I mean, he never really hurt me one time. He had me mounted, I was in every position you could get a guy in when you take him down, but he never hurt me once." Ortiz believed that he deserved an immediate rematch with Couture and said he didn't plan on fighting anyone else until then, but of course he would never get that rematch. Number 6, Rose Namajunas. After one of the most bizarre and uncharacteristic performances we've ever had from a champion in a title fight, Rose Namajunas didn't seem to feel as if she should have lost or should have adjusted anything.
I won that fight. I stuck to the strategy.
Despite setting a record for the least strikes landed in a title fight that went the distance, and otherwise doing a whole lot of not very much. Honestly, I don't know how you score a bout where nobody does anything, but I certainly wouldn't think that it would be easy to feel confident about the outcome. That was the vibe from Rose at the post-fight press conference, though.
I thought I won.
Given that most felt this was Rose's worst performance in the cage, her reaction to it felt a bit unexpected. But where things really ramped up was when Namajunas and coach boyfriend Pat Barry would appear on the MMA Hour in a 55-minute fever dream of an interview defending Rose's strategy in the bout that would end up costing her her title.
I wasn't really like, oh, like I wonder what it's gonna be. Like I was pretty solid, like, yeah, I won that.
Unlike other entries on this list where fighters struggled with the idea of losing, Rose and company are more just confused as to why they lost, despite it being clear to most that her performance wasn't optimal. Number 5, Luke Rockhold. I know that Luke Rockhold can be an easy guy to dislike given his admitted arrogance, but given how massive an upset that loss to Michael Bisping was, and how absolutely brutal the count can be, especially with a few beers in him, I think it's pretty understandable that Rockhold wasn't exactly handling his title loss at the post-fight presser with grace and poise.
Hey, buddy, you got knocked the fuck out. You got knocked out, buddy. Sit down, shut up. You got lucky.
This loss was truly worst nightmare material for Luke, and you can hear it in his voice the whole time. A few years ago, Luke flat out admitted that he felt he cost himself the fight with his cockiness.
Bisping.
Yeah.
The second time around with Bisping, I was arrogance. Arrogance and stupidity and just coming forward, you know.
It really does show very much how he still sees the fight today, that the lesser of the two men won, that it was his mistake and nothing else that cost him. The fact that he's correct, I think, just adds to the sting. That and never getting a chance at the rematch, which he called for in that period after losing the title, but of course never got. Even with as sour as he's been about it, given how devastating it was, I'm not ranking him any higher than 5. Number 4, Jamahal Hill. Now, Hill technically didn't lose the light heavyweight title when he was defeated by Alex Pereira, but he was forced to vacate due to injury and then returned against new champion Poatan, who knocked him out in under 4 minutes. Hold on, I'm punching, brother. And so we feel like Jamahal should still be included on this list. Since that fateful KO, on his YouTube channel, on his social media, and in interviews, Jamahal has been trying to convince everyone that the nature of his loss was bogus.
I took no damage. I was coherent the whole time throughout. I want Alex. I want that fight again.
When all-time great Demetrius Johnson broke down the ending of that fight and didn't see it the same way as Hill, Jamahal took to his YouTube channel to break Johnson's breakdown down. Now, DJ being one of the best ever doesn't automatically make him right, but this time I think he's probably right. Jamahal was in attendance for Poatan's most recent defense against Khalil Roundtree and did a big yawning pose afterwards to the collective eye roll of the MMA fandom. In a video explaining the yawn as if it needed any explaining, Hill was adamant that even if Alex loses the title, it's the only fight he wants, further cementing that that loss is the main focus of his life right now. Number 3, Juliana Pena. The big question going into the rematch between new champion Juliana Pena and former champion Amanda Nunes was whether the first fight was a fluke, and given the dominant nature of Nunes' win in that second fight, the general consensus was that it was. And I say general because Pena has been holding on to that fight for the 2 years since it happened, and it doesn't appear she's going to be letting go anytime soon. The way she speaks about it too, it's as if she sees herself chasing down Nunes for a third fight because she's scared to take it or something.
I think a trilogy fight is what the fans want to see. It's what I want. I don't know that she wants it, but...
This talk ramped up massively after Nunes retired as the greatest female fighter of all time on top of 2 divisions.
There was a part of me that really wanted to storm the cage, and I say she took the coward's way out. And that's all there is to it.
Even more hilariously, after reclaiming the title recently, Juliana again called for a rematch with Amanda, who has been retired now for more than a year.
I truly do not believe that she's done. I think she retired too early.
If the second fight was a close one, I could totally justify almost everything Pena has done since to antagonize Nunes. But given how lopsided it was, it just comes off as plain silly talk. But it's entirely earnest, which makes Juliana perfect for this list, because she simply cannot let it go. Number 2, Conor McGregor. Now, just like Hill, Conor never lost his titles because he never defended them, but he did immediately fight Khabib upon his return after 2 years away and carried his belts around with him, so this one definitely counts. Of any loss Conor has had in his career, some of which he's taken very graciously, it is the Khabib fight that he cannot seem to let go of or accept. There was, of course, the infamous interview with Ariel Helwani, where Conor explained the issues he had coming into the fight.
My foot was a balloon. My foot was a balloon. You want to see it? Do you know what I mean?
Rocky III syndrome and balloon feet are certainly problems, but you get the sense that McGregor believes it's those issues, and not Khabib being better than him, that were why he lost the bout. In the second documentary about his career, it's pretty evident that McGregor didn't care a bit about the post-fight brawl, but that he lost to Nurmagomedov. Listen to the anger in Conor's voice when Stephen A. Smith brought up the loss in 2021.
He's gone. Shit, his jocks came fat and is riding off. He done nothing in the sport. All he done in the sport.
Oh, and that random Twitter voice note from a couple years ago about Joe Rogan's commentary in the fight?
Shut up, Joe, you little fool, yeah. What are you talking about? Smash this and smash that.
It's another great example of how Conor is very regularly revisiting that fight, which is to say nothing about the countless deleted social media posts calling out Khabib. I also think the fact that Nurmagomedov has retired, and so the loss can never be avenged, just eats away at Conor and always will. Number 1, Ronda Rousey. I'd imagine most of you thought of Ronda Rousey losing the belt to Holly Holm when you saw the title of the video, and it's hard to argue that any fighter has ever been more devastated by losing a championship than her. The fall from the top was arguably as high as it could have been, given Ronda's massive stardom, the nature of her dominant title reign, and the nature of the loss itself. The whole thing was a powder keg, and when it finally went off, Rousey was at the epicenter. She would skip the post-fight presser as you'd imagine, but couldn't avoid the paparazzi when she arrived back in LA. And from that moment with the purple pillow, it would be radio silence going on 3 full months, only breaking it because she was featured in the Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue. While promoting on Ellen, Ronda was unexpectedly candid about how difficult the loss was for her.
What am I anymore if I'm not this? And I was literally sitting there and like thinking about killing myself, and that exact second I'm like, I'm nothing. I'm like, what do I do anymore?
We wouldn't see Rousey in the cage again until a year after the Holm fight, where she would be devastated yet again. And from there, she's distanced herself considerably from mixed martial arts. Her exile from the sport set into motion when Holm landed that head kick. You know who's never once tasted defeat in their entire life though? The editor of this video, Max Randall. Make the man a blueberry pie, follow him on all his socials, and go check out his awesome YouTube channel. A massive thanks to Ben C., a Channel Hall of Famer, for the concept of this video. Another massive thanks to all the Channel Hall of Famers. You guys are truly the best of the best. If you'd like to be a member as well, hit the join button. There's exclusive content, and you might have some say in a video like Ben C. Like and subscribe to Cure Balloonfoot, leave a comment about which champ you have the most empathy for, and thank you so much for watching. Let's have lunch sometime.